I love a good psychological thriller, even more so when you throw in a mystery and some twists and turns in it. And that being said, there's nothing I hate more than an abusive husband who lies and manipulates to set up his own wife.
Yes.
So, literal worst. When you first read the script, what was your reaction to him and to the relationship between your characters? What was it like to see it on paper and then figure out how to translate that?
Yeah, so first, I first was sent the first 3 episodes from Jack and Harry, our writers, and who I'd worked with before. So I was really excited to receive the script from them. And I just couldn't put it down. I read all 3 scripts in one sitting, which is a great sign. So yeah, I mean, it's such a twisty, turny psychological thriller. It's very Hitchcockian in its style, and it starts off quite subtly, and then the story really, really ramps up as we get to sort of halfway through the series. So, and I think all the elements are just so interesting that, you know, something that seems incredibly insignificant in the first episode, once you've watched all 6, if you look back, then you know that it was absolutely very significant. So I love the sort of framework in which they tell the story. Also, it really interested me to meet this woman at a time in her life where she's really lost her voice and she's lost her sense of self, and she's lost herself really. And through the journey that we go on with Angela, she is almost broken down further to then ultimately rebuild herself in some ways and be able to change her situation in some ways. So it's just a really fascinating character to play from an acting point of view, and also to delve into the psychology of her situation and her and Olivier's relationship.
We hear your character get beaten off screen, which I thought was a really interesting way to handle that kind of material. It doesn't make it any easier to experience because your imagination just sort of is, you know, as bad or as worse as whatever we might have actually seen. Was it always in the script that way? What were the conversations like when it came to that scene? Was there ever talk about showing what happened, or was it always going to be off camera?
It was always going to be off camera. I think Jack and Harry and Craig Viveris, our director, and myself, and the whole team were very much, you know, not wanting to show gratuitous violence against women. That wasn't what we were doing. You know, we were trying to highlight a subject matter at the same time providing a piece of entertainment, which is a very edge of your seat thriller, but also wanted to be very sensitive about how we handled that. Yeah. So as you say, the imagination can be even more brutal than the reality, than the visual. So it was important I feel it was important to have that scene there for the audience to be able to have a very visceral experience of, in their own minds, what Angela's going through on a day-to-day basis. But it wasn't ever anybody's intention to make that what the show's about. The show is about actually the psychology of the situation, and it's very much about the unsaid, the unknown, what Angela starts to discover about Olivier, her husband, aside from the bad stuff she already knows. And so that's the side that we focused on. We needed to have that framework and setting to really set the stakes of what Angela's situation is, but we didn't want to overplay that or use it in any gratuitous way.
What was it like for you to see that scene? I mean, have you watched that scene?
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah, I've watched I've watched everything. I always watch everything once. I have to know how everything's turned out. Yeah, I obviously like to see how everything's come together and see everyone's work put together. But it was actually it's very sort of uncomfortable scene to film on set because, you know, there's obviously we're still filming it. The beginning bit that you see is obviously on camera, and then the off-camera stuff as well. And it did, you know, it was a definite atmosphere shift on set. It was it's very subdued few hours on set, you know, because you are all sat there thinking, wow, this is people's reality, you know, on a day-to-day basis in their own homes. And it's a very sobering thought, and it's a very sobering experience to film it, you know, and also to watch it.
the character that you played in Liar seemed like you got to dive pretty deep into someone and explore some pretty dark material in that. And this character seems to have an even more complicated, challenging, and difficult life. How did you find the experience of living in this character compared to your character in Liar? Was she more challenging? Was she someone you felt you understood better? What was it like to play this woman?
My character in Liar was very, she was sort of, I saw her as a woman in a different position to Angela, a woman that's actually very used to being listened to, very used to having her voice heard, has a very strong sense of self-confidence, is well respected in her job, well respected in her career, well respected in her life, has a good support, has a great support system, has a great life. And something terrible happens to her. And then because she's striving for justice, she can't get justice. She is driven by anger and that need for justice. Whereas with Angela, she's in the sort of opposite scenario. She's at a place where she's lost her sense of self. She's not feeling angry. She's feeling helpless. She's feeling, degraded, and she's feeling hopeless and not able to change her situation. She's feeling like there's no way out for her. She's not a woman who's used to being listened to. She's used to being ignored. She's used to being treated badly, and she's just she's had to accept that. She's had to accept where she is. So the characters are coming from very different headspaces. And I also obviously wanted to make them very different as well. But yeah, Angela's very much coming from a place of being broken down to rebuild herself. And that's a sort of very interesting and sort of complex journey for her. Whereas Laura was very much, sort of full of anger and revenge and fight, whereas Angela has to really find her fight.
Yeah. What was it like to actually read the different surprises that lead to the final script? I mean, once you got those final scripts, what was your own emotional reaction to seeing how everything played out for each of these characters at the center of this story?
Yeah, well, it was incredibly exciting and interesting, and I don't know how Jack and Harry come up with the things they do. They're incredible how they think these stories up. It just never ceases to amaze me, and it's always exciting to read one of their scripts, whether it's episode 4 or episode 1. And they were incredibly collaborative. If I had an exec producer credit on the show, and Craig Viveris, our director, and he directed all 6 episodes, and we Jack and Harry were really collaborative with the both of us. If there was anything once we'd started filming that we wanted to weave into the later episodes, or anything we felt was really important, or things that we'd started to explore on set that we wanted to keep a through line for, Jack and Harry were just always open to sort of making that all work. So yeah, it was just a dream working environment, really, in that way.
In a business that is always unpredictable and you never know what your next role or project will be, what has it meant to you that not only was Downton Abbey a successful TV series, but you actually got to make a movie and now a sequel to that movie? How rewarding and how meaningful is it to have a project that sustains in that way?
It's incredible. I mean, we never would have imagined starting season 1 that, it would have hit the heights that it did. And then also that we'd be about to come out with movie number 2, not even just 1 movie, but 2 movies. So we're just, we're incredibly fortunate that people just took it to their hearts in the way they did. And, to be able to work with that cast and some of the same crew over what's now, I think, 12 years on and off, is such a wonderful experience. And it happens so rarely in this industry. So I think we all just feel incredibly fortunate, and it's a lovely experience to pop back and check in with those characters and to get to work with each other again.
What can you say to tease what fans can expect from Anna and Bates in the sequel, especially since, we all love your characters?
Oh, thank you. What can they expect? I think they can expect all the things they want to see. I think Anna and Bates are in a good place, you know. No one's getting sent to prison, which is good. So they're in a pretty happy space. So I think that's very rewarding for the audience to see after sticking with them through all their trials and tribulations, hopefully.
When it comes to Angela Black, I'm curious, I mean, what sort of life do you think she went on to have after all of this that happens to her? Can she just move on? Does having her own sense of closure help her do that? What do you think comes of her?
Well, I mean, I guess obviously that's everyone's individual interpretation to make their own minds about what they feel happens to her in the end. Obviously, she's not going to be unaffected by her experiences. You know, the reality is that it's not going to be an easy transition into a different sort of life for her. I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought about where I thought she'd end up. I guess I've just spent all my time thinking about where she's got to and our story. So I guess I'll leave that up to the viewer to decide.
It's so interesting as the audience to take a journey with a character that doesn't know who or what to trust, and even if she can trust herself. So how did that influence the way you thought of her, your performance, the way you wanted to play her? Did it change, how you thought about who she was?
It didn't change how I thought about who she was. It just made me think very intricately about everything making sense, obviously, when you look back at it, and the reasons why there's certain points that she doesn't always trust herself. And then finding the reasons why she starts to begin to trust herself. So it was quite it's quite a complex thing to build, and quite a complex character to build, but I really enjoyed that process of delving deep into her mind, really, and her self-confidence, and trying to figure out where and when she loses that, and where and when she loses herself, and where and when she starts to build herself back up and rediscover herself again.
What was it like to have the contrast between these two relationships in her life, with her husband and with this other man who she knows is Ed Harrison? How different were each of those actors to work with as scene partners? What was it like to be able to explore those two very different relationships?
Oh, it was great. Sam and Michiel were just amazing to work with. I loved working with both of them. It was just such a great experience. Again, both just really collaborative. We were filming during the second lockdown, I think, in England. So we were one of the first shows to go back. So we were all, with Craig Viveris, our director as well, we were all incredibly positive and happy to be at work together. And we had a relatively small crew in terms of what you would usually have, because we kept things as sort of small as possible. I mean, it's still a lot of people, but so we had a really intimate working environment, actually. We had a really supportive and close-knit working environment, which is the best way, in my opinion, to work. I always want to be part of a supportive environment for everybody. So actually filming during the lockdown only sort of added to that, because we really, really had to rely on each other and be a team. And that always brings the best results, I think.
Yeah, I mean, even though it must have been so weird to film with all of those new safety precautions and protocols and all that going on, does it also make you really appreciate that you do get to figure out a way to go back to work and do the thing that you love to do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so appreciative. I was so appreciative to be at work, to be able to work. Which, we weren't able to during the first lockdown, but because we were filming, we were able during our second lockdown in the UK, with strict restrictions and rules, which we were very happy to follow. I mean, I think we all did. We all just felt so fortunate to be at work, to be doing work that we really believed in, that we felt really passionate about. Also, because of the lockdown, the issue of domestic abuse had become even more prevalent, because those of us lucky enough to have a safe space to isolate in, you didn't have to think about how it would feel to be in a very unsafe environment, in your home environment. So Jack and Harry actually wrote Angela Black before, COVID was a word on any of our lips, but Bizarrely, the timing of it was incredibly apt in a way, because it, you know, as I say, that the subject of domestic abuse was even more prevalent. So we felt like it was a really important subject matter to be talking about and thinking about, and and we were just all sort of felt a big responsibility to do the best job we could, really.
Well, thank you for talking to me about it. You do really great work in this. I love watching these character journeys you've been doing lately, because you've been going really deep with some characters. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Christina.
Thanks a lot.